Hello learners, hoping you are doing well. It's Teacher Grace here. Welcome to today's lesson. Today's lesson we are going to discuss about atoms and subatomic particles. So by the end of this lesson as a learner, you should be in a position to define what is an atom, list the three subatomic particles, and differentiate the three subatomic particles. So starting with the definition of an atom. An atom is the smallest particle of an element that can take part in a chemical reaction. That is the definition that we have in our books. So the smallest particle, the smallest possible unit into which matter can be divided when still maintaining its properties, that is what we call atom. Then when we talk about the structure of an atom, how does an atom look like? An atom has got two very important parts. The first part is the innermost part, which is termed as the nucleus. Then the other part is the outside the nucleus, which is termed as the energy levels. So when you are told about the structure of an atom, when you are drawing the atoms, make sure that in your atom we have the nucleus and we have the energy levels. Looking at this diagram, you can see in the nucleus we got two different circles. We have a circle that has a positive charge and a circle that does not have a charge. So it means that among the three subatomic particles, two of them are inside the nucleus and one is in the energy levels. Then, looking at this diagram, now we can see properly that the structure of an atom, we have protons and we have neutrons. So definitely, neutrons and protons are located inside the nucleus of an atom, whereas the electrons are located at the energy levels, that is outside the nucleus of an atom. So looking at this diagram, you can clearly see now, when you talk about inside the nucleus, it's at the center, the innermost part of the nucleus. Then at the energy levels, that is where we have our electrons. Then we can discuss about the properties of subatomic particles. So from the images we have seen previously, the three subatomic particles include the protons, neutrons, and electrons. So one of the difference that can be used to differentiate between the three subatomic particles is their location. What do I mean by location? Where are they located? So protons are located inside the nucleus of an atom. Then neutrons are still located inside the nucleus of an atom. But when it comes to electrons, electrons are located outside the nucleus of an atom. So electrons are located to where we call the energy levels. Then, still referring to our diagrams, you had seen that protons have a charge of positive. Neutrons don't have a charge. They are chargeless. Some books call them, they are neutral. Then, electrons, they have a charge of a negative. So we got two differences now, two areas which we can use to differentiate protons, neutrons, and electrons. So we can differentiate them in terms of their location, and we can differentiate them in terms of their charge. Also, when we start discussing about each and every subatomic particles, Ernest Rutherford, who discovered the protons among the other scientists, he said that when we talk about an atom, always, provided that atom is neutral, the number of protons in the nucleus of that atom will always be equal to the number of electrons in that atom. And therefore, the number of protons represents the atomic number. So, in other words, I'm saying, when we are trying to define what is an atomic number, it is definitely the number of protons in the nucleus of an atom. Then, when we are given the atomic number and we are asked about electrons, and we are trying to talk about the number of electrons, you have to know that provided that atom is not charged, provided it is not an ion, the number of protons equals to the number of electrons. Then, The other thing that we have to know is that if number of protons is equal to the number of electrons, then it is not mandatory for it to be equal to the number of neutrons as the other subatomic particle. So when we talk about how these subatomic particles vary, we can say the number of protons is equal to the number of neutrons in a neutral atom, while it is not a must for it to be equal to the number of neutrons. Protons is equal to the number of electrons, but it is not a must for it to be equal to the number of neutrons. Therefore, for us to know how many neutrons are in an atom, we have to understand another term which is known as mass number. And mass number is the sum of protons and neutrons. Otherwise, mass number is the summation of the atomic number and the number of neutrons. So for us to get the number of neutrons, we get the difference between mass number and atomic number. So the neutrons of an atom is the difference between the mass number of that atom and the atomic number. So looking at this one, carbon has a mass number of 12 and an atomic number of 6, meaning that it will have 6 neutrons. When you look at this one, sulfur, 30 and 15, you can do the calculations and give me the answers in the comment section. So thank you very much for listening to Teacher Grace. I hope you have understood what is an atom and which are these 3 subatomic particles and how the 3 subatomic particles vary. Kindly share, you can like the video, comment on the comment section and subscribe. Thank you.